Okay, here we go. Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. This is the first entry of my COVID life journal. And the coronavirus has paralyzed the world in proportions we haven't seen for a very long time. Global operations stop, world economy is plummeting, and human movement is limited to a bare minimum. I mean, you can't really even go out anymore. We're all advised, and to a certain degree, we're all ordered to stay at home, and quarantines were imposed for our safety. To better understand the situation, I had to understand what was happening. And since marami akong oras, I have plenty of time. Knowing my personality, I, I would dive in and do a lot of research and read on the facts of the case and do my best to understand how things work. So we're talking about COVID-19, which is the coronavirus disease of 2019. It is a virus, so I had to understand how a virus works. And I hope in this episode I am able to help people understand what is happening in our surroundings. Now, by by no means am I a doctor. I'm not a virologist. I am I'm just someone who is very curious and someone who wants to understand how things work and why these measures are being done in order for all of us to survive. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure that this is very simple. And for the other technical stuff that is a little bit hard to explain or to use my own words, I took excerpts from science websites. So these are from Wikipedia, World Health Organization, um, virus websites. There are a lot out there in the internet. So just do your own readings. If I'm wrong, just comment or drop a message and say, uh, try out this link, try out this research, so I can go ahead and educate myself more. So now, for us to understand what is COVID-19, we have to understand what is a virus. So now, a virus is a cell. Now, if you know how a cell works, if you know how a cell works, it is part of our body. It is inside our body. Now, what happens to viruses is we become the host. Okay? So they become part of the body, and then uh, it's bacteria cells and cells in your body at work. A cell is a standalone living entity able to eat, grow, and reproduce. Viruses are nothing like that. If you could look at a virus, you would see that a virus is a very tiny particle. It is about 1 millionth of an inch. So I mean, these are just right off the bat information. And a virus particle, so if we're going to be scientific about it, has three parts. So it's the nucleic acid. So it's either DNA or RNA. So it has a coat of protein and it has a lipid membrane. So these are all technical science stuff. So now I think this is the more important detail. Unlike human cells or bacteria, viruses don't contain the chemical machinery needed to carry out the chemical reactions for life. So it cannot sustain on its own, it cannot multiply by itself. So instead, viruses carry only one or two enzymes that decode their genetic instructions. So, para siyang squatter sa katawan mo, basically. Ano siya, squatter siya sa katawan mo. So it invaded your body through physical means. So a virus must have a host cell, so that is our body. So ang host ng any virus is yung katawan, is the body to which it inhabits. It is an inhabitant of, in which to live and make more viruses. So parang if you look at the Alien movie, if you remember the Alien series movie, so the aliens and they start. They're very very tiny particles. So it's like a virus. It's a human. It's a living organism that uses the energy of your body to multiply and spread. Okay. So for this reason, viruses thread the fine line that separates living things from non-living things. This article says most scientists agree that viruses are alive because of what happens when they infect the host cell. Oh, wow, that's scary shit. Okay. Now, ito yun, there are key points. So I'm gonna get to them. A virus particle attaches to a host cell. The particle releases its genetic instructions into the host cell. The injected genetic material recruits the host cell's enzymes. Enzymes make parts for a new virus particle. The new particles assemble the parts into new viruses. The new particles break free from the host cell. All viruses have some type of protein on the outside coat or envelope that feels or recognizes the proper host cells. The protein attaches the virus to the membrane of the host cell. So, I mean, these are very technical terms, but what happens is a virus gets absorbed into your body, and then upon entry, it replicates. And then upon replication, it assembles, it becomes an army and assembles, and then when it's ready, or some of it is ready to leave, it will be released and it will be transmitted to another host. So, yun nga, it's like, it's so in Filipino, para siyang deadly squatter na, na transmit sa katawan mo, inabsorb siya ng katawan mo, and then ginamit niya yung nutrients ng katawan mo to reproduce para dumami. And then, pag marami na siya, kakainin niya yung katawan mo. Tapos, sa sobrang dami niya na, kaya niya ng kaya na siyang ipasa sa susunod na host or maghahanap na rin siya ng lilipatan. So more or less, the way I understand it, that's how a virus will work. When it comes to COVID-19 or the coronavirus, this is a new strain of a virus na hindi natin alam paano nag-mutate. It's a mutated version of the common flu, so to speak. So ngayon, we're gonna go to this year, and the World Health Organization defines the coronavirus disease as an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. Most people infected with the COVID-19 virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. Older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, and cancer are more likely to develop serious illness. The best way to prevent and slow down transmission is to be well informed about COVID-19 virus. Now, this article goes on and on. You can go to the website of WHO to get your information, but the way I understand everything that I read is COVID-19 is part of the coronavirus family. So, for the lack of a better term, put all your flu-like symptoms or influenza under coronavirus. Then, si coronavirus ang heading. Okay, coronavirus is your umbrella organization, and then underneath that is SARS, MERS. I don't know if Ebola is there and Zika is there, but everything flu-related na virus is under the coronavirus. So the reason behind COVID-19, okay, COVID-19 means coronavirus disease of 2019. Now, previously it was called the 2019 novel coronavirus, but if we are going to be very technical about it, the real technical name of coronavirus is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. So it's SARS-CoV-2. So now, COVID-19 was coined up in order to identify and more or less have its own name for identification in terms of allocating treatment and research for vaccines. And this is another thing that I hope people will understand. When it comes to viruses, there, I have yet to hear of a cure for viruses. They develop vaccines. What vaccines do is they are put into our body. It's a strain of the virus put into our body so that our bodies are capable of immunization towards it. So nasaksakan tayo ng vaccine para mag-build tayo ng immunity dun sa virus na yun. So that the virus comes in contact with our body again, our bodies can fight it. So kaya tayo nagpapabakuna para pagka flu season or tapuan tayo ng virus, since sanay na yung virus sa katawan na yun, or sanay na yung katawan natin sa virus na yun, kaya na natin siyang labanan. Kaya na natin mag-build ng antibodies para labanan yung virus na yun, para hindi na tayo patayin. That is the main purpose of vaccines. Hindi siya cure. I have yet to hear of a cure for viruses. So now let's get to the coronavirus entering the Philippines. If you follow the news, the coronavirus has been spreading, and the initial cases were in Wuhan, China, or some other part of China. Sometimes you don't want to. Ang hirap na paniwalaan kung anong meron, pero majority of the information that I was able to gather was that it was in Wuhan, and then for whatever reason, of course, China downplayed it. Other Asian countries downplayed it until they couldn't control the spread anymore. Now, when it comes to the Philippines, the first confirmed case of the coronavirus pandemic was in January of this year, and it was all over the news because someone was confined in San Lazaro Hospital. They even uh, there were also disclaimers that no, it wasn't. There were so many mixed news. There was so much information being thrown out. But later on, it was later confirmed that uh, there was a Chinese woman who was confined in San Lazaro, and then the second case was in Feb. Okay? A Chinese man died because of the coronavirus, and it was, I think, the first reported casualty. Now, uh, this started the downward spiral of everything that led to today. We are we were warned. There were several campaigns that wanted everyone, or that wanted to tell everyone, we have to contain this, we have to move, we have to mobilize, and there's not there you can blame the government all you want, but you can't discount the fact na maraming Pilipino rin ang na dapat sisihin mo rin ang mga Pilipino. We cannot rely on the government all the time. You cannot rely on information that is spoon fed to you. And I mean, some people don't really understand what's happening. They just rely on what they see, what they headline read on the internet, and what they headline read on Facebook. And well, nobody really predicted the gravity to be this bad. And of course, there are so many sources of information that said that it was just a common flu. Um, a lot of people downplayed it, and what people didn't really understand back then was, if you know how a virus works, if you understand the basic structure of how it gets transmitted, the more you'd be careful. Kasi in as much as it only, I mean, when it started, ano pa lang, 2 to 3% mortality rate. However, if transmission is very high, there's a higher chance that it could transmit from one person to another. and then information wasn't really clear or it wasn't pushed hard enough, that you could be fine. You'd feel great. You'll be fine. But you're a carrier. The virus lives within you. And if you have the virus, you're asymptomatic. There are no signs, there are no symptoms, but it's in your system. The moment you're in contact with someone who is weaker than you, virus gets transmitted, that person gets sick. Yun yung hindi, for me, yun yung part na hindi nabigyan ng emphasis. Yun yung part na hindi nabigyan ng malinaw na dissemination. Because now a lot of people are, I mean, they just talked about being asymptomatic. They just talked about middle part na eh. Middle part na. What we have to understand is, the very beginning pa lang dapat sinabi nila yun. Or sinabi nila, hindi lang tayo nakinig. But it led to, and it's not just us Filipinos. A lot of people around the world did not listen. They did not listen, and now we're here. We we will always have the moral high ground. We will always say we know better, but apparently we don't. So everyone's on lockdown. We're all caged inside our houses, and the best way to help each other is to actually stay inside. Now, I hope this one. I really hope this is a simplified version of spreading information. And to end this episode and going back to the previous premise of what I said is, if you understand how viruses work, you have a better understanding of how to stop its transmission. That's why that's why you notice that at the beginning of everything, people were adamant in saying, wash your hands, uh, clean your hands, or disinfect your hands with alcohol, hand sanitizers. It brought the pandemonium of panic buying ng mga alcohol. You'd see people clearing out shelves of disinfectants and sanitizers, which was crazy. Which was crazy. Um, doon mo rin makikita yung effect ng media. That's how media, whether mainstream media or social media, brainwashes people. There's plenty to go around, and then you see people freaking out, panicking, that they ended up hoarding a lot of these things. So you gave yourself a chance for survival. At the same time, you didn't give. I mean, you gave yourself a chance to survive or fight this pandemic. Pero you weren't thinking about that. You weren't thinking about other people. The mere fact that people started hoarding is a clear indication of how people perceive the world. We're not looking after us. We're not looking after each other. We're looking after ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. And it is expected. It's bound to happen. Why? Because the selfishness and greed of people are ingrained in our systems as well. We were very much, when push comes to shove, we will always choose ourselves. There's no room to help. So for me to see something like that, na parang, okay, nabasa mo sa Facebook, you were able to read tweets, watch some shitty broadcast in the news, and all of a sudden you come running to the supermarket and hoard all the alcohol. And that's what information dissemination is all about. It could either brainwash you, it could either move you towards the right direction, which is something that's very, very weird. Kasi ako nakita ko, I was like, okay, everyone's hoarding sanitizers and alcohol. No one's buying soap. I'm like, what the hell? They kind of do the same thing. And more often than not, soap is better because if you use alcohol and you don't know how to use it properly, you're just gonna put alcohol in your hands, rub it, and it stays there. Okay? So some parts of it will die, some parts of it will stay there. Whereas if you wash your hands, you use soap, it kills bacteria, it kills the virus, and you wash it with water, you wash it away. It goes to the drain. You know, so these are very small things. And at the beginning of the outbreak, people were like calm. They were fine. They were they were to the point of ignoring it. I mean, hindi, isa pa lang yan. Ganun tayo eh. It's like, okay, one victim. And then we would see how other people react, and then there's nothing. Malls were still open. Public transportation was there, still operational. Um, the health department is laying the grounds for the measures to be taken. And I don't know, it was, if I remember correctly, the first few weeks people were still going to work. I was still going to work. And nobody really knew that it was gonna end up this way. So that's it for now. I just wanted the first part to be a little bit of an information dissemination episode. And I'll do my best to do one more or do probably a few more COVID journals. But for now, I urge everyone, stay inside, stay at home. If you really have to go out, just do social distancing, buy your supplies ahead of time, boost your immune system. For God's sakes, boost your immune system. So when I say boost your immune system, eat fruits and vegetables, more of the good stuff, more of the good stuff, less of the bad stuff. And, you know, be safe, be healthy, exercise. Don't let this get to you. We will survive this. We will prevail. So thank you, Nuts and Process. Thank you, Bottle Boy PH. Thank you, Gatorade PH. Thank you, A Warm Coffee. And that's what Coach Franco says. Bye bye.